Blessed ones of the nations of the world. One more time, this is your brother Dan Moses of Say of Sakwadier of TRC, Ghana, coming to you with the exposition Testimony New World Disorder with special edition in commemoration of the coward secret killing of His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings of Ghana, which cowardly secret killing was effected on the 12th of November 2020. Friday marks exactly 1 year, and this week's exposés are in commemoration of that anniversary. We intended using this part 16 of Humanity They Are Coming After Our Souls to expose how Jerry John Rawlings was killed by the coward secret killers. However, we would do that in the part 17 instead. You would know why. You will know why we have to do that in the next part. An opportunity has opened, and we would have to. We're supposed to get like 2 or 3 episodes this exposes this week, but God has made a way. All things work together for good, and we have had an opportunity to receive more than 3 this week. So we shall do the Humanity Are Coming After Our Souls in. The exposing of how Jerry John Rawlings was killed by the coward secret killers in part 17. So, Humanity and the Nations of the World. Before we begin, let's welcome each other by in a special way by saying Akwaba, Allen, Sahalen, Shagitam, welcome. Nganjoni, bem-vindo. You are welcome. Kuso, Diwo to San Senor, Okukulaba, Mauya, Mingala, Baboye, Malamu, Karibu, Ekabo, No, O, Sanu, Dezua, Enkwandehena, Mitash, Duburo, Pezalovat, Bine Aevinit, Barigalus de Vita Iche, Aibon, de Bridoya, Velkomen, Estan, Ozot, Walang, Anumang, Bienvenido, Namaste, Swagetam, Kush, Amadid, Baruch, Haba, Marahaba, Wangyong Haminida, Wangying, Nyejeko, Anyamime, Nyejeko, We Zolo, Novio, Miawezo, Akwaba to the program. Testimony New World Disorder. Testimony New World Disorder is the program through which we get to know what is happening to Ghana, America, humanity, and the nations of the world in these times of global wickedness, global deception, delusion, and willful lies that are made by some of the very people that we trust to be there for humanity and the nations of the world, and yet have chosen to deal with us by willful lies, deception, and delusion, having brought humanity into this global helplessness. So we are all at stake. We must understand that it is no longer an agenda of going about the nations and dropping bombs on the innocent on various nations. They have stepped up. They are coming after your soul, my soul, the souls of humanity. That is the ulterior agenda that they are pursuing. Everything that you are seeing alongside is a diversionary tactic to what? To their ulterior agenda. It is time for you to seek after God and let Him take over your soul before the soul takers take over your soul. To me, Christ Jesus is my Lord, and I have forever yielded my soul to Him. Whoever you think is your God and is capable of keeping your soul, that is your choice that you have to make. But we must know that the entire human race is at stake, and this is not an issue against America. It is not against just Ghana. It is not against Europe, Asia, Australia, the United Nations, or any particular. The entire human race is at stake. But we are not moved in the sense that God has never lost control over the universe. He, by grace, has made a way that we as well receive some divine guide, divine direction, divine insight that we may know what to do in these times of global treachery. So we are grateful to God that we as well receive what to do in this expose. Humanity and the nations of the world. Akwaba 2. part 16 of humanity, they are coming after us. So we have urged that we should do well to watch these exposés from humanity are coming after us. So part 1, part 2, part 3, chronological order. So for this very week, let's do watch the part 15, which we saw yesterday on November the 9th. Today is the November the 10th, and this part 16 is coming to us. Blessed ones of the nations of Aquaba to the program Testimony New World Disorder. Thus, US undercover agent. The whole world is hijacked in worship of her. If I would not allow her and states within the United Nations, states in America, states in Ghana, the terror network of Nana Addo Akufo, if I would not allow them to enforce willful fraud that she established against me after plotting with the CIA, the terror network of Nana Addo Akufo, to get me lynched, kidnapped and killed on the soil of Ghana on the 6th of April 2011, if I would not allow them to enforce the fraud that they established used under the cover of the court, if I would not allow that, they would kill the Ghanaian people. And they have continued to kill us anytime I try to resist an attempt to get me robbed. They were able to get the office of the former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon before he left office to treacherously collude with them that they might use PNC Bank to get a huge debt as over $15,000 established in the interest of this US undercover agent against me. That, $15,000 is not a little amount. They know that in seeking to silence me from exposing the killing of the African people, what they are doing to humanity, they must get me financially crushed, while they have fully paid this US undercover agent and their crime partners as far back as 2007, between 2007 and 2009. Their objective is they must find every means to render me penniless so that I would not be able to provide for myself and provide for those that I must support. My family in Ghana, that I will not be able to arise to fight for the liberty of my own children. That was very smart of Mr. Ban Ki-moon. He thought, because he has all the diplomatic powers. But the God that created all men equal made me to stand up. Mr. Ban Ki-moon did this just days with a cronies. They did this just days before Mr. Ban Ki-moon's office came to an end on the 7th of January 2021. A few weeks. So after they had done that, every intention must be used. Diplomatic forces, political forces, the Ghana embassy, they must rob me criminally if I will not allow that they go ahead and kill the Ghanaian people to silence me. America, Ghana, humanity, and the nations, they are not content with exploiting this issue to rob the New York Stock Exchange, rob the American people. At the point, these diplomatic minds, political and religious minds, who take over every company that I work for, at one instant, they were able to rob the American people $1.6 billion on the 13th of January 2015. On the behalf of the American people and humanity, I officially reported this to the U.S. House of Congress under His Excellency Paul Ryan of the then U.S. House of Speaker. Humanity and the nations of the world. Akwa to the program. Testimony. If I am against America, Ghana, or any particular nation in this issue, I would not be hazarding my life for the American people openly at the White House for years. I would not be hazarding my life for Ghana. I would not be hazarding my life for the United Nations and the nations of the world at the expense of my very life, the expense of the precious life of my family members, the expense of my two tortured and abducted children. I would not be doing this. So we must understand that God is giving us help. It is true that stakes within America's institutions have been hijacked for years. The government of Ghana has been hijacked. Cronies within the United Nations have taken over the United Nations to further this evil for years. And we are all at stake. So we must all do what we can to save the human race before it is too late. We must get the understanding. We are not in competition with anybody. We are not in haste to come out with the exposés, to get the perpetrators exposed as quickly as we can. No. The entire US intelligence, technology, and money is used in supporting the cause of this evil at the expense of the US taxpayer. And this is not a thing that began by maybe let's see His Excellency Joe Biden's administration. This has been around for a very long time, as His Excellency Trump told the world. How? When? Since when? How? This has been around for a very long time. Humanity and the nations of the let's go on. Aquaba to the program testimony. New world disorder. In total resistance to that the totally unacceptable stand that Ban Ki-moon and his cronies troubling the United Nations in the interest of the US undercover agent to seek to suppress me. When they have established that fraud against me, they did they did this in 2016, just before His Excellency Ban Ki-moon left office. I have told us I have to take him to the International Criminal Court just days after he left office as the UN Secretary General. On the 20th of January 2017, I took him to the International Criminal Court on the behalf of the United Nations, humanity, and the nations of the world, because all men are created equal. And I have taken that stand on the behalf of humanity, my two tortured and abducted children, the American people, that I would never pay a penny to my killer, the US undercover agent, to the individual that hated me so much and had his father's life being cut short, instead of he seeing me liberated and my children liberated. That individual that has hated me so much to get my people killed by global forces, I would not pay a penny to her. I've taken that stand before the US government. If it is dead, bring it. But humanity and the nations of the world know that nobody has the right in this matter. America, that is the truth. The power to get me assassinated does not rest with anybody in America. Not the White House, not the Congress, not the Senate, not Nana Addo Akufo Addo, not the United. You can't kill me because you have killed my people for being Africans, and I am demanding justice. I have not held any weapon to anybody. Humanity, Ghana, let's be still. America, let's be still. Humanity, it's very obvious that they could get me assassinated. It is very scary, but don't panic. Doing that bring total doom to the human race at the hands of the God who keeps my soul. I know this for sure. So let's go on. America, in order for me to take that defense that stand for the humanity, that all men are created equal, and my killer and her cronies, her counterparts, cannot get away with the killing of my people and seeking to rob me, to silence me. In the year 2020, in the month of May, before the killing of His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings on November the 12th, 2020, the U.S. Justice Department had referred that criminality, that crime of this U.S. undercover agent, that fraud, to the office of the Inspector General of the U.S. Treasury Department to review that court crime that was the wrongful court, an institution called, which called themselves, it is just adjacent to the Rockville Court, Montgomery County. They hid under that institution, and they established that fraud. The U.S. Justice Department have asked the Inspector General of the Office of the Inspector General of the Treasury Department to review the case and ensure justice. As far back, Ghana humanity, yes, as far back as May 2020, America, you don't know how disrespectful your laws are being trampled down on, and no law in the world, in America, applies to this covering up of the killing of the African people, which consequences are falling on the entire human race. America, let's hear this. When the U.S. Justice Department had referred the fraud, you see, the crime against humanity, that case is before the International Criminal Court, and it has been before the U.S. Justice Department since 2018. But the fraud aspect, which Ban Ki-moon had his evil hands in it, that fraud was referred to the U.S. Justice Inspector General's office of the Treasury Department for a review to ensure that justice is established. For over 1 year, the Office of the Inspector General had been on this so-called review in secrecy. I am grateful to God that America must know this. When they had killed Jerry John Rawlings, I had to flee America for Ghana, for my safety. While I was in Ghana, as a result of the case having been referred to the Office of the Inspector General, for the first time, the IRS was made to send me a check, my stimulus check of $1,400. $1,400. The first $600. There was a $600 and there was I think $1,200. All those money were robbed me in line with that agenda until I had taken the case to the U.S. Justice Department. Referred the case to for the review to Inspector General's office. Even though I was outside of US, I was in Ghana, it was possible for the Inspector General's office, the Treasury Department, the IRS, the United Nations, the ICC, all the states that are seeking justice, that must ensure justice for the sake of peace. For our information, that 1,400 was sent into my accounts in Ghana when I was out of here. When I had returned to Ghana, America, let's watch this document. Dated September 17th, 2021. September 17, 2021. This document was saying, thanks to the Treasury Department and U.S. Department of Justice. The content was thanking them and for the 1,100 for the step towards justice so far that they have ensured that I've received. They are bringing the fraud by this U.S. undercover agent under law, and as part of it, they have given to me my 1,400, and I have exposed some heinous crime that had been perpetrated to even the killing of His Excellency Jerry John Rawlings after the case went to the Treasury Department. I was calling on the Treasury Department to step up for, so far as the fraud is concerned. Because since I came from Ghana, the government of Nana Addo Akufo, the Ghana embassy, the terror network of Nana Addo Akufo, they have the Montgomery County Police, the FBI, they have all been working to get me defrauded in spite of the case being before the law. And when I had resisted on the 30th of June, the consequence had to be that had to fall on the Haitian president. I told you, anytime I resist the payment, somebody would have to go. So Ghana Humanity and the Nations of Aquaba to the program Testimony New World Disorder. I had to let the U.S. Treasury Department step up so far as the fraud was concerned, because diabolical minds, in violation of the U.S. Constitution and everything that is called law, were still seeking to rob me, and it has already cost the life of the Haitian president. Can we imagine that since May 2020, when this case was referred to, the fraud case was referred to the Office of the Inspector General, the Inspector General Office had been silenced. And Humanity, they implicated themselves by sending me the $14,400 when I was in Ghana. But because when I came back, it's like it's a new government administration, so they must revoke whatever. They must find means to cover up the shame. In a sense that they have realized that I have been defrauded, I've been robbed. They sought to kill me, and they have established this fraud to silence me. So they must find means to cover up the shame. After the Office of the Inspector General received this document in September 17, 2021, the Inspector General's office remained silent, and they colluded with the IRS with my tax preparer and an African shop called International Food Warehouse, which had been the main shop that had been taken over by the Montgomery County Police, the FBI, and the Ghana Embassy for the covering up of the killing. So they must find means to cover up the shame of the Inspector General's office, in a sense that they have already committed themselves in my defense, ensuring justice. So on November the 2nd, 2021, September, October, November, 2 months, when I had continued to resist at the United Nations International Criminal Court, the U.S. Justice Department, exposing the willful agenda by the IRS in collusion with my tax preparer. They've been making up figures to get me, to put tax crime on me. I had to resist so much at the U.S. Justice Department, international authorities. So, Ghana, Humanity and the Nations of the World, on 2nd of November, the Inspector General's office, let's note the date, 2nd of November 2020. The reason why the U.S. Office of the Inspector General had to do this, it is because of their paranoia mindset. I'm taking it, their paranoia mindset This 17th, this date on which I sent that document to them, so far as this undercover agent is concerned, it's a no. It's an abomination. The UN High Commission for Human Rights, for years, have hidden under the same 17 agenda for this US undercover agent, and they didn't have it easy. They were humiliated totally. The US Office of the Inspector General, in their paranoia mindset, must come at me on the November the 2nd. Ghana, Humanity and the Nations of God. There is so much intelligence work that has gone on for years. Whenever they want to, they use the figure 2. It is in specific a code that they have assigned to me. So the Inspector General's office chose the day, the 2nd of November, 2021, wrote to me, in writing to me, as cowardly as they know they were aiding crime. So they have to treacherously send me an email into my email box on the 2nd of November, claiming that I cannot, that message, all that it was saying is the office of the Inspector General is incompetent to review the case. Understand? To the case that has been referred to the Inspector General's office by the by the U.S. Justice Department, the Inspector General's office, the Treasury Department, which has already committed themselves, they have given me the $1,400, $1,400 in Ghana. The Justice Department, Inspector General, want to play shameless game by claiming that it is incompetent. It doesn't have what it takes to investigate, to review the case and to ensure. What is it? Ghana, America, and the nations of the world. This was the office of the Inspector General. Over 1 year of the U.S. Justice Department referring the case to them, playing this shameless treachery by slipping such email into my account. And the disgraceful aspect of it is they were claiming that the same email which they sent me that document expressing the incompetence of the Inspector General's office and the Treasury Department to review the case. The case which has been with them since May 2020. I cannot respond to them by that same email, which they communicated with me. They thought that they had played smart. They have used the International Food Warehouse with the Ghana Embassy. They have terrorized me enough. They have used the Rockville Court. They have used the state of Maryland to make up tax records against me, just to seek to prove that I owe the state of Maryland. Ghana and the nations of the world. I have never worked in America without paying my taxes. Ever since I have been a worker in America, I've always paid my taxes. It is to cover up the shame of the fact that the Ghana Embassy, Washington, D.C., the Montgomery County Police, the FBI, have for years colluded with this U.S. undercover agent in tearing down America, the democracy of the nation, the Constitution, and the Declaration of Independence, with diplomatic and religious forces. They must seek to get me killed in America after they have killed my family members. And this is how shameless the Office of the Inspector General conducted itself. I have written to the White House about this, and I've called on the American people to get the Inspector General of America fired. He must be fired for willfully aiding to cover up the heinous crimes of this U.S. undercover agent and the killing of the African people. Because all men are created equal. Ghana, humanity, and the nations of the world. I'll call about to the program testimony. New World Disorder. You saw the part 9 on the 9th of November, on the 9th of November. You've seen the part 15. That part 15 was recorded on the 8th of November. The next day, I went to work. The Montgomery County Police, the Ghana Embassy, Washington, D.C., the diplomatic states, the FBI, they cannot take the shame of the total disregard of the U.S. Constitution, U.S. Declaration of Independence, the disregard for the justice system of America, the disregard for the tax laws of the nation, and they using International Food Warehouse to willfully cover up the killing of Africa. They cannot withstand the shame that is coming. So after I recorded the expose on November the 7th, part 15, I go to work the 9th of September with the police, Montgomery County Police, tracking me from Germantown on the bus, pursue me on the bus, just so shameless. I had to capture them, and then they retreated in their shame. I got to work, and they had colluded with Georgina Menu, the woman, the greedy woman, who, with traitors of the Ghana Embassy, have all the diplomatic networks, diplomatic cables, U.S. intelligence, technology, and money behind them to cover up the killing of the African people. She's a Ghanaian too. She's told to fire me, to take my job immediately after the expose, because in the expose I've mentioned one Henry, and I've mentioned that I will also let us know how the companies that I work for are operated behind the scene. She knows she's totally exposed. So they tell her when I get to work, she should take my job immediately and threaten me with an attack by the Montgomery County Police. They thought that I would respond to their lawlessness with violence. They woefully failed because I've always appealed to the law, the Justice Department, the U.S. Department of U.S. State Department of Labor. That is where justice for robbing of my income must be ensured. So I'm not moved at all. Let's go to expose part 17 to go know the killing of His Excellency Jerry John Roy. God bless you and God bless my